I don't feel my shirt tail.
Yeah,
No
it's
cord
calling
today?
us through
Oh,
that.
yeah,
there's no cord today.
Oh, it is?
We're all on now, we're starting.
All right. Here, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
You know what, I'm not going to be.
Right out there. That's okay.
Hello. Good.
I talked to Lonnie.
Nice suit. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, I knew she would be fine with that. Oh, she is.
There you go.
So smart. Oopsie.
I think they're better.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, Josh.
Let's call this work session to order, and we actually will begin with a public hearing. City of Plattsburgh is holding a public hearing to hear public comment on local law P4 of 2018, a local law amending chapter 253, sections 2 and 12, chapter 233, section 37, subsection B, chapter 202, section 4, chapter 161, section 7, and chapter 183, section 19.3 of the city code of the city of Plattsburgh. There's some details just outside if you're interested, and we invite anybody who'd like to come and speak on this very exciting topic to please come forward. This, by the way, is a reorganization of our parking enforcement officer to allow that individual to also address other minor local code violations like litter, etc., and to have that person be reportable to the building inspector's office, who already administers other aspects of local code. Going once, going twice. Well, that hearing's over, and we'll then begin our work session. There is a need tonight to go into an executive session on two issues. If I can have somebody offer a motion. The issues will be on a personnel issue and an issue of ongoing litigation with regard to policy.
So moved.
Second by Councilor Ansel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Everybody's ready for summer. You gotta be busy.
It won't be the first one, or the last one. Yeah, so far. You got one? And everybody's How was today? Well, I think they're watching the video.
Nice to see you.
They don't follow along.
No, I have to write.
Yeah.
This feels like air, it's air conditioned.
If we could, let's resume, please. We're coming back from executive session. We discussed an issue, a personnel issue involving a particular person and a matter of litigation with regard to Falkland Seaboard. We're now ready to begin the Common Council meeting for today. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Reed.
Present.
Councilor Armstrong.
Here?
Councilor Kelly. Councilor Dowdle.
Here.
Councilor Ensel.
Here.
Councilor McFarland.
Present.
Councilor Kretzer.
Here.
I'd like to begin by, first of all, welcoming our new special events coordinator, Tara Powers. She's joined us earlier this week. She's joined an incredibly good office. We've had Matt working for us for, what, about 3 months now? Ethan, perhaps for about a month and a half, and Tara's just joined us. That office is really gelling and obviously has an awful lot of stuff on their plate. I really appreciate how all the expertise they brought to us. Tara's brought probably 15 or 20 years of events and marketing experience to the position, and she's really making a big difference right out of the box. So thank you for coming. You'll get to know some of your colleagues, many of which are here tonight, but welcome. I also welcome the nice weather. We go from complaining about the cold to complaining about the heat all in about 2 weeks in the North Country, but it's nice to see
I'm
that.
not complaining.
And I should, by the way, mention Tara's first job really is to make sure we're going to have a very successful Mayor's Cup in early July. She's been working on the music, on the parade. Anybody who wants to be involved in the parade or any of the other various Mayor's Cup events, make sure you appreciate her. I know that Joanne Dolan was meeting with her earlier today. We've got the full support of the Morning Rotary and all the various groups that work with us. But if you want, any of you want to get involved, anybody else who wants to get involved, make sure.
Just a quick question, will there be, I know it's late, will there be a 4th of July parade this year as well, again? Okay.
I'm hoping to post the registration link tomorrow,
Great, thank you.
within 48 hours.
And any teachers out there, we've also are putting out the notice for drawing up the next set of buttons for the Battle of Plattsburgh. As you recall, we try to have a contest, was it 4th graders each year? So that we're working on that right now too. And part of her job duties also includes, and you recall this with Sandra as well, includes helping us with our communications, our website, Facebook. I know something that Rochelle has got a lot of ideas, and we'll probably plug you into Rochelle and Josh's governance committee because they really work hard on making sure that City Hall is as transparent and open and as public as possible too. So Tara's got a lot of ideas for that as well. So that's all I have today.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on May 24th, 2018 are approved and placed on file among the public records of the City Clerk's office.
Moved by Councillor Kretzer and seconded by Councillor Dowdle. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolved that the payrolls of the various departments of the City of Plattsburgh for the week ending May 30th, 2018 in the amount of $99,778.82 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councillor Ensel and seconded by Councillor Dowdle. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. You have in your weekly packets and available at the front door some various reports from our various offices. Are there any additional reports? Let's start with governance strategy and city operations. Councillor Kretzer?
I don't have any updates. Councilor Armstrong, do you have any updates?
Nope.
No.
City infrastructure, Councillor Ensel?
I also do not have any updates except that our next meeting is in 2 weeks, so if any of the department heads have some items or issues, please get them to me or Beth.
Thank you. Councillor Kelly can't be with us tonight. Where is he? In Dominican Republic, was it?
I believe so. Could have stayed home for that.
Public Safety, Councillor Dowdle.
We had our meeting last week. There's certainly no updates since that time. There's some initiatives being undertaken by the police department we're anxious to hear about. That's about it. We'll meet again fourth Thursday of the month of June.
Thank you. Public Library, Councillor Armstrong.
No updates.
MLD, Councillor McFarland.
The only update I have is that on June 5th, starting at 10:30, continuing till 3:30, is the Boomer Bust Economic Impacts of Cryptocurrency, which will be at Yoakum Lecture Hall at SUNY Plattsburgh. So if anyone is following that issue, we still have the moratorium on, but hopefully there'll be some good discussion there, and I do expect some people from the city to be there.
What time is that at, did you say?
It's at 10:30.
10:30, okay.
And you have, I believe, 2 more days to register attendance.
Right, I saw that online, okay.
June 5th.
Thank you. Resolved, the reports as listed are hereby ordered received, and any written reports are placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office. Moved by Councillor Ensel, second by Councillor Armstrong. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. There's no correspondences or recommendations from boards at this time.
Resolved that the bills ordered by the Common Council for the week ending June 1st, 2018 in the amount of $304,892.49 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councillor Armstrong, seconded by Councillor Dowdle. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. This is one of 2 opportunities for the public to please come address the council. This first opportunity is to address the council on any issues that are on the agenda tonight. There'll be another opportunity to address the council on other mutual items at the end of the meeting. So please come forward. I'll ask you to state your name, your address, and we have 5 minutes.
Hi. Rebecca King, 19 Monty Street. This is in regard to the contract for the feral cat control services. To be honest, in February of 2017, when the first contract was awarded, I was hopefully optimistic that the city would get some helpful results for the whole citizenry. I talked with Will just a minute ago. She said they helped over 800 cats with this, partly with this money, which I think is really commendable. But I'm not sure if it's really helping the city. You'll forgive me, I haven't had a chance to get I just recently got the Freedom of Information Act to see if we get the quarterly reports that were to be filed with this contract. And I just wanted to express some concerns. I mean, obviously, if you guys have all read it and I'm just kind of back, then I'm gonna have to let you guys decide. But if that's not the case, then hopefully we can get a better idea of, especially how they're working to decrease the number of feral cats. These colonies are well documented, how many cats there are. I mean, in today's report, they said that they were last year removed 10 young cats, and then this year they removed 2 cats that gave birth to 4 kittens each, so that's another 10 cats. Has that really decreased if you're doing the same 10 cats every year? Is that really helping? How many cats are in that colony? What are the plans to prevent new cats from coming in? People dropping them off, that kind of thing. And I'm hoping that was all in the quarterly reports, and again, I'm sorry if you've seen those and that's in there, then you can just ignore everything I said.
Well, Mayor, do you mind if I ask a question? Sure. Do you have recommendations, or I guess, to some kind of different model, or do you think that the group isn't doing a good service for the city?
I think they're doing a good service for the cats, but I'm not sure that the taxpayer's actually getting a bang for the buck here. In everything that I've researched, Trap, Neuter, Release is a great program to keep the cats happy, but it really doesn't do anything to decrease the feral cat population.
Except they're no longer able to reproduce.
But new cats come in. And they've got one population where they have one male cat that they weren't able to trap, and that male cat is going to impregnate every female. So it doesn't matter that you spayed all the females in that colony, anything new coming in is just going to have more kittens. So the only Trap, Neuter, Release programs that have been shown to work are ones where they're closely monitored and any new cats are removed and either adopted or humanely euthanized, which I'm not for, but nobody is. But again, I'm not sure that the city really needs to get involved with that.
So do you think that we should just let them go and breed? And I guess I'm trying to, it seems like this group is offering some kind of a solution to a problem of reproduction.
Okay.
So I guess what would be a counter proposal?
It's not popular, but some cities require licensing of cats.
Yes.
And if that happens, then people take more responsibility for them, and you can actually not have to worry, well, that cat belongs to somebody, and microchipping is a good alternative. That
But
can
can
show
that be
proof of ownership.
required? Can that be required,
Some cities
microchipping?
require it, yes.
Yeah, I think
So then what would happen to any cats who are not found with microchips?
The same thing that would happen with dogs without microchips,
Which is?
which is they are taken out of the public and found in homes for. Or the owner is required to microchip them and register them, just like a dog.
Right. I guess since I'm not an expert in the subject, it seems like the capturing and the spaying and the neutering is helping to control the population. And I know there's a certain percentage of these cats that are put into foster care and or are adopted. So if no one was doing any of that work, then what would
If it's
happen?
controlling the population, that'd be great, and that's what I'm hopefully optimistic about. The problem is that I don't see any numbers, or I haven't seen any numbers, that this cat colony started with 20 cats. We
Okay.
trapped 10, we went back next year, there's only 10 there, and we're working on decreasing
So
the
it's more of
size.
a counting.
Haven't seen any of those numbers.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And also, Dr. King, if I may point out, I still have your information that you presented on February 13th, 2017.
Yes.
On free roaming, abandoned, and feral cats that you presented in your own letter that you gave us. So if you wanted to send us something additional
Sure.
since
I'm
that
happy to.
time,
Okay.
if you feel any updates or anything, sure.
No
Thank you.
problem. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Valuable.
Lil Cassidy, 20 St. John Street in the city. I'd just like to speak in terms of one of Becky's concerns. I'll give you for instance, with a colony that exists behind the Newman Center. When I started 5 years ago, there were 33 cats there. We are down to 16, partially because cats pass away after, a certain length of time. We've had drop-offs, but those drop-offs do get pulled from there. And if they're adoptable, they do get adopted. If they're not, they get spayed or neutered, and they go back to that colony. The one cat that she's referring to, we're still trying to catch. It's not like it's done because I reported that we had 18 cats. So
So, I'm sorry, as far as the accounting, so the Newman Center, for example, do you have an accounting of all of the cats
I
that
do.
you've come into contact with? And have you provided that to
Yeah, I
to
don't
us?
recall that being provided.
the Newman Center I think of it as really being a private colony that
Oh.
we take care of.
But I mean, overall, you said you provided a quarterly report to us and
Because
that gave us all
if we
the
were able to
numbers.
get that accounting
I
and
can
know.
break down for you, as a for instance, how many we did in 2017 and how many were put back out on the street because they were feral, but how many were also pulled from the street because they were able to be rehomed. And, I mean, I can provide that for you. That's not a problem. Not tonight.
Right, no, of course
No.
not.
But were we supposed to receive quarterly reports? I don't remember seeing any.
I remember addressing the council twice, but I can't say that it was quarterly, and in July, the money was totally expended. I don't see the reason to come back in October to say that it was gone, but.
No, I think I'm just asking if we received a formal written report about the numbers to account for.
For the 18 that were done?
Each year?
Yeah,
Or
yes.
even just a yearly report?
Okay, the reports that I would give would be ARWS reports. They would not really be city reports.
Right.
So I can break down from our reports how many came from the city and how many were adopted out because of that. But, I mean, I'm not sure you want the whole county.
No, we just
Gotcha.
interested in the city.
Helpful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members, please come forward. Seeing none, please continue.
Motion to remove item 7A from the table.
We have a motion at this time. Any further development, Mr. Miller, on 7A?
I guess.
I don't have an accurate figure yet, I apologize.
Leave it on the table then?
Mhm.
Okay.
Motion to remove item 7B from the table.
Moved by Counselor Armstrong, second.
No second?
Leave that on the table. Just second
Okay.
by Counselor Kretzer. Okay, discussion. Well, I guess I just roll call to move it off the, from the table. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
No.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves a contract with Animal Rescue and Welfare Services for feral cat control rescue adoption efforts in the city of Plattsburgh in the amount of $3,000. ARWS will provide an account of expenditures at year's end as well as a report of the conditions of the feral cat population in the city.
Moved by Counselor Armstrong, second by Counselor Kretzer. Discussion.
I think it was really helpful to hear Dr. King's comments, and I agree that we need a more comprehensive citywide plan for dealing with feral cats. But in the absence of such a program currently, I think that their efforts should be supported because I think they are of service not only to cats but to you know, helping to control the population. So, and that affects our citizenry. The colonies are a different matter than, let's say, any problems that anybody might have with irresponsible pet owners. There's been some concern about how people who, well, cat people, who may not be able to control their own individual household numbers of cats, how that affects other people's property and so forth. But I think this is a separate matter. I feel like this organization, it should, and in the light that there was budgeted from 4430, I mean, apparently Denise Nephew contacted you, Mr. Marks. I hope I'm not being abrupt in asking this question. She said that she spoke to you about the 2017 funding. Okay, and it came out of line 4430. Okay, I received the budgetary, yeah, we all did, I guess. That there was 8,000 left in that line. Does that sound correct?
For contracted services.
For contracted services, okay.
From last year or from
This year.
This
This
year.
year, there's 8,000.
That's what I think I interpret from
Yeah,
this.
out of 18,000, there's 8,000 left, so.
Right.
But we don't know how the rest of the year's gonna transpire yet.
Exactly.
That's true. Okay, so, but we had asked, if you recall, Chief Ritter, we had asked for some trends, budgetary trends to allow us to figure out and analyze whether it could be possible that the 3,000 could come out of this budget based on prior figures. Did you have that information for us tonight?
I don't have it with me.
Oh, okay.
I received an email from the Chamberlain. It was forwarded here.
Okay.
You analyze 7 years of history.
Yeah.
And the average in that account surplus has only been about $600 per year
Okay.
for the entire 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we said before, it's early to tell how that's gonna transpire for the rest of the year. But being it's an $18,000 budget and it's more than half used, as a minimum value,
It's under
you're
budget.
not sure how it's gonna come out. By committing $3,000, it could cut it short for the other
Yeah.
animal care
Right.
options that we have to provide. So,
Uh-huh.
Could-
I get you.
Could we make an amendment to it
Cut
in
down
half?
the amount,
Maybe just cut it in half?
cut it in half. Would that be a more reasonable figure to work with?
it's still not budgeted.
That's
that
true.
amount. And it wasn't budgeted last year.
Right, she was just asking for the amount of money from which that particular allocation was taken in 2017. Right. Okay.
To add a
We're
slightly
clear.
different perspective, I believe the consensus is that this is a really important issue, and it's something that's worthy of our budget attention when it comes to formulating our budget. I think some of the concerns from people who are trying to administer that budget is they're given a certain budget for the year, and this is now, in some sense, amending their budget without doing a budget amendment. So it means that they have to say, okay, we're going to do more cats, but we're not going to be able to get as many skunks done this year when people are calling us up in November, December with the skunk problem. So I think that's the concern. I've not heard any sentiment from the department heads on the lack of validity of this issue, but it's more of a resource allocation issue at this point, which certainly sends us the signal at budget time to make sure we incorporate these values into the next year's budget.
All right.
Yes, I have a couple of issues. I guess, Lil, I didn't realize that, I thought your group was just focused specifically on the city. I didn't realize that it was counties. How, I guess, how is the accounting put forward that the $3,000 that the city, or the $1,500 that the city gives you is spent just specifically on the cats within the city? There is there is accounting that money is used just for the.
Is it okay for me to speak?
Sure.
When we maintain a database for every cat that comes in to our network, and when we do what we call TNR, we designate TNR city, and then I designate where the street was that it came from. And if it was a TNR that we did in the town of Plattsburgh, which we've done a lot of, and to be honest with you, I'm going to be asking Plattsburgh, I'm going to be asking Peru for money too, because we're doing a service for the communities, and I don't mind working hard to raise money to do it, but it would be nice to have someone recognize that there's an obligation for more than a few elderly people, because we are all getting up there. So every cat that has been done through the city as a TNR has a designation for not only city, but the street that it came from, the location that it went back to, the person that's the caretaker to administer it. And I just like, if I could just speak to one more thing, the colonies, there really are not a lot of colonies in the city of Plattsburgh. I'm only aware of 3. What we're dealing with are stray cats. These are cats that may show up on New York Road, they may show up on Tom Miller Road, on St. John Street. So it's not like we're going in and just dealing with one area. It's all over the city.
Well,
Thank you. And I also want to address you, Councilor Armstrong. You mentioned that it was kind of the service that this group is doing is different than, is a separate issue compared to what is taking place with irresponsible cat owners or pet owners. And I have to disagree with you there, because a lot of the cats that are captured are brought back to the location, and they continue to
of that irresponsible owner.
Yes, and
I
they
see.
continue to
Yeah.
create the problems that
Well,
exist with.
In weighing the situation, I mean, and I'll accept that point, but in weighing the situation, I think the most persuasive aspect comes from the mayor's remarks about allocation of resources and how this contribution, basically, to a private organization might affect potentially the services we're really obligated to render on behalf of our citizens. And perhaps, you know, I mean, I think if I came into this discussion feeling as though I was going to support the contribution, but I don't know if I can in good faith at this point because of Chamberlain Marx's analysis and consideration of what the mayor has said regarding just our financial planning.
Well, let me ask you this: how would your operations be affected if any allocation were delayed until the end of the year to see if there's any money left that was budgeted that hadn't been used?
We're doing trap data return on a regular basis all year, so we would just end up paying for it. And I guess we could either do it as an offset if the city wanted to say, okay, we recognize that you've done this, then I could give you the names of the streets or where the cats have gone back to, if you wanted to give us a contribution to offset what we had expended. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That would work.
That's a
I
good
think he's referring to that
compromise.
we'd have to see at the end of the year if there's any remaining funds, and if the chief could allocate and be very careful with spending those funds, if there's anything remaining at the end of the year devoted to this cause.
Good compromise.
But I mean, obviously, if any money that we get is kind of a plus, because it means that we can do something else. We're not only just doing TNR. I mean, I don't want people to think that we're doing vouchers for people that want to have a pet, and very frankly, that a pet enriches their lives. So if they can't afford to get a cat spayed, and it's a matter of the cat gets thrown out on the street, or we help, we're helping. So I mean, it's more than just TNR.
Your work is really commendable, there's no question of that, and we really truly appreciate what you're able to do.
I think this will have further discussion. I think some other additional ideas we could explore have also come up tonight too, so
Yes.
this is interesting and helpful discussion.
I would personally, going forward, like to see some money perhaps dedicated to the education of what to do with a cat when you're done with it. Rather than abandoning the cat, thinking, well, there's people out there that'll feed it, there's a colony you can go to. If they thought there isn't that comfort level, they might be a little more sympathetic to that cat when it comes time to
Right.
part ways.
And I'm wondering, you know, just tapping back into what Dr. King said, if there's any interest amongst the counselors for the idea of cat registration, and you know, that seems like, if particularly if it's a model that we can draw upon from other municipalities, it might be a good action to pursue.
I think the public safety
Okay.
committee is working on.
Oh, you are?
something.
Good, good.
And, I mean, you know, some of my research just spin off. An indoor cat's life expectancy is 12 to 15 years, where a feral cat, I understand, is about 2 to 5 years because of the living conditions, the weather, etc. They're prey to other things.
Could I say?
Sure.
We have, at the Newman Center, we have 4 cats that are 10 years old or older, that have been out there for that length of time, that have stopped reproducing, that are just very happy, to be honest with you, because I've pulled a couple of them for vet visits and actually had teeth cleaned or whatever, and they just want to be back out there. They're happy where they are. So.
They're living the life. Okay.
In a cat condo.
Any further discussion? I think we have reached a consensus on a sentiment for what we'd like to accomplish by the end of the year, so I'd like to have roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
No.
Counselor Dowdle?
No.
Counselor Ensel?
No.
Counselor McFarland?
No.
Counselor Kretzer?
No.
Adoption of local law P-4 of 2018. Resolved, the local law amending chapter 253, sections 2 and 12, chapter 233, section 37, subsection B, chapter 202, section 4, chapter 161, section 7, and chapter 183, section 19.3 of the city code of the city of Plattsburgh. This local law shall take effect immediately upon approval by the mayor and filing with New York Secretary of State. The entire text of which has been distributed to and read by the members of the Common Council is hereby enacted without the reading thereof, and a copy of said local law is made part of the minutes of this meeting.
Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor McFarland. Discussion?
This will come into the building inspector's regime, correct?
That's the intention. This local law doesn't do that specifically. This local law just gives authority for that parking enforcement officer to enforce parking violations, enforce littering, enforce dog feces, and snow removal.
How does this?
Hours per
sorry.
week? Hours per week, is that yet to be
This is,
determined?
again, this is,
Right.
this solely is
Right.
changing the code
Okay.
so that there's the authority to do those additional enforcements.
Okay.
Everything else is left for further
Right.
action.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Enzel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
I'd like to hand down the appointment tonight of Elizabeth Baker to the Library Board, term effective July 1, 2018, expiring June 30th, 2023. Moved by Counselor Kretzer, second by Counselor McFarland. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Enzel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
I'd like to hand down the reappointment of Jennifer Creedon to the Library Board, term effective July 1, 2018, expiring June 30th, 2023. Moved by Counselor Armstrong, second by Counselor Enzel. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Enzel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves that the mayor be authorized to sign a license agreement with the Lucy Enterprise Inc. to
I'd like
operate
to make a
bar.
motion to waive the reading and move the resolution.
Moved by Counselor Kretzer, second by Counselor Armstrong. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion.
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
This is a return vendor, correct?
Correct. It's
Yes.
the Cabana Beach Bar. They've operated down at the beach for the past 6 seasons, I believe.
Yes. And how long, is it a 6-month or how does it,
It's a 4-month license agreement until the end of September.
and it started
It started,
May 1st?
well, it hasn't been signed yet, but it's listed as Memorial Day being the start date. So
Okay.
we're a little late getting to it, but we're still getting up to speed with the beach.
So if the beach isn't open, can they operate?
They can operate because their premises is listed very specifically in the license agreement, and it gives them permission to do certain things within that premises, but they can't do anything on a wider beach.
Yeah. Why isn't the beach open?
The beach isn't open until June 21st, as that was the date listed on the beach safety plan that the city submitted to the Department of Health.
Okay.
Okay. Are there other vendors that are coming forward?
We don't have any other vendors lined up currently for this year, but we are making overtures to food trucks to have additional
Good.
options now.
Okay.
It says that the license fee will not be more than $5,000 per year. How is the fee determined?
The license fee is $1,000 per season. That was based on previous years and contracts that the beach bar entered into with the city.
But this contract would only be for this year?
Yes, it's for this year with the option for the city to renew it for an additional year.
And there have been summers where the beach has been opened on weekends before it was fully opened. That's not gonna happen this year.
I've heard that there have been, quote, soft openings in the past, but based on the beach safety plan that was approved by the Department of Health, I would be extremely wary of implying that the beach is in any way open before that date, as it would open the city to several different levels of liability, I would imagine.
So the safety plan, what are the concerns of the safety plan? That's it,
It's
water levels?
Yeah, well, it's water levels, it's testing of the water for contaminants and things like that. It's lifeguard staffing and schedules, just so they're on the same page with the city about how the beach will be administered during the season when it's open.
Is staffing complete?
Staffing is not complete. We are still seeking additional lifeguards and are in the process of confirming an assistant beach manager, but the staffing is progressing quickly.
I feel like we're out of scope with the resolution.
Okay, yes, we are.
talked
I know.
about, because I had some questions too, maybe a new business.
Okay.
And you said the beach doesn't have to be open for them to operate?
Correct.
So they can operate once the beach closes for the day?
They're already open, they've been open.
Oh, they have-
I've been down by the beach and they've been open.
Yeah, they've been readying their store, so, but in terms of their hours, the language of the statement is gonna be, the language of the license states that they cannot be open before the beach is open and cannot be open after the beach closes for the day.
So maybe, and they were, it looked like I didn't go, I wasn't a future trip. It looked like they were open, but maybe.
Yeah, they've had their doors
preparing.
open and they're readying their site. They
Okay.
plan to open as soon as the agreement is signed, but technically they're not open yet.
Gotcha.
And what do they serve?
They serve beer, wine, and snacks. No liquor,
Cider, probably. Yeah.
probably.
What time does the beach close for the day?
9 p.m.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved that in accordance with the request, therefore the common council approves the foundation of CVPH to occupy for purpose of setup and tent installation in the city of Plattsburgh Marina parking lot from June 7th, 2018 through June 9th, 2018 for the event that was originally approved by council on January 11th, 2018 for one-day use only, June 9th, 2018 from 7 a.m. to approximately 11 p.m. Event time is 5 p.m.
Can I get a point of order? I need to recuse myself from the vote. If I recuse myself from the vote, am I able to participate in discussion?
Not participate, but you don't have to leave the room.
But I can't participate in discussion, so, okay. Okay.
Good job.
Moved by Counselor Armstrong, seconded by Counselor Ensel. Discussion.
What is the event? Yeah.
It's the annual hospital fundraiser that we have every year. And we've had it at the crate the past few years, and this year we're having it down at the city marina. And so our apologies, we did get approval for it. And so we thought, oh, we'll get it for the day, but we do need time for setup and breakdown. So also would actually like to request another day or two after the fact to take down the tents if possible. Because it will go till late in the evening on Saturday.
So would you, so you would be looking for June 7th through June 10th? Would the
Yes,
tent be
or
able to be
11th.
down?
11th, if the council was in agreement with that. That just gives the Fosters, our tent crew more time to take down,
Is
because
that
they are
necessary?
very large and it's lots of tables and trays.
Is that necessary?
So you want 2 days for setup and 2 days for takedown?
Anyway.
And June 9th, what day of the week is that?
Saturday.
And does your, would your certificate of insurance cover all those days? And this will be done down by the city marina?
I move to amend, or do we have to, what do we do?
You'd have to make a motion for an
I
amendment.
move to amend the date, the outside date to June 11th, so that the resolution would read June 7th through June 11th.
Second?
Then discussion on the amendment.
Discussion on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Okay.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes?
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer recuses himself?
Back to discussion on the item itself.
Just to make sure there's no other events scheduled for these days that
There's
haven't
no
been
fishing
previously.
tournament or anything.
And
That I would have to double check with a few people at rec.
There was no conflict when they were approved.
No conflict? Okay.
And
Enough
the
for me.
use of marina facilities, bathroom facilities, will they be used, or are you gonna set up for a?
We are planning to use those, but also have porta potties so that we're not taxing on just those facilities, really trying to drive people towards the porta potties.
Yeah, I believe you anticipate, what, 300-400 people, Carrie?
Yes.
I suspect this will bring a lot of people to that location that maybe have never been there before.
That's what we hope
So,
it'll be a great way to showcase that area.
There's parts of this I like and parts that I don't, but I like the part that many people, probably half have never been down to that neck of our woods.
Love it.
Okay, thank you.
Side.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes?
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer? Recused himself.
Yes, he did.
I'd like to, pursuant to Chapter 53 of the City Code, the Common Council hereby appoints Thomas Moran to the Board of Ethics effective June 1, 2018, to serve at the pleasure of the Common Council. Moved by Counselor Ensel, second by Counselor Armstrong. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Pursuant to Chapter 53 of the City Code, the Common Council hereby appoints Patrick McFarland to the Board of Ethics effective June 1, 2018 to serve at the pleasure of the Common Council. Moved by Councilor Armstrong, second by Councilor Dowdle.
I'll recuse myself from this vote.
Presumably roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland recused himself. Counselor Cresser?
Yes.
Pursuant to Chapter 53 of the City Code, the Common Council hereby appoints James McCartney III to the Board of Ethics effective June 1, 2018 to serve at the pleasure of the Common Council. Moved by Councilor Ensel, second by Councilor Dowdle. Roll call.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor McFarland?
Yes.
Counselor Cretzer?
Yes.
Thank you. No travel requests at this time. Any resolutions for initial consideration? New business.
Actually, I have a question. I know, Patrick, we have the cryptocurrency event coming up on June 5th, but just actually today I received a call, so I'm wondering where we stand in regard to with the cryptocurrency, because I did receive a call today from a constituent saying that their MLD bill was considerably higher this past month compared to last year at the same time. And also, I was approached or spoke to a manager, a plant manager of a business that operates in the city that employs close to 150 people, and they said that their utility bill was up more than $35,000, not this past month, but in previous months, and that the owner is really looking at it, and if it continues, that they will be moving out, and they employ about 150 people. So I think we need to really act on this quickly.
With regard to the moratorium, we've just had some input from the task force we appointed, and we will be trying to promulgate some actual code very soon. With regard to the rates, as you know, the same day we imposed the moratorium, we did receive approval from the Public Service Commission to create a special category of high-density electricity users who will then be paying for the entire surcharge of any overages induced by their actions. That fund is now being collected and is being put in a separate account. MLD runs as a nonprofit, so those funds will be used to protect the other ratepayers. So we will in the future see protection. Now, there were rate increases this year with MLD because of the ZEX surcharges imposed by Albany, so that probably explains some. But
right, I did mention that to them.
Did we go over the quota in the past couple months of?
Not in the last couple of months,
right,
but in January and February we did.
Right.
And I believe there's now $90,000 of additional credits in a special fund from the large cryptocurrency operators to offset future surcharges. So I'm confident that the ratepayers will be protected from here on in, and within the next month or two, we should have the code completed to also take care of some of the nuisance and safety and hopefully even heat reclamation issues that we're trying to also address. Many of these public policy aspects, by the way, will be discussed at the conference on Tuesday. So if you have any interest in that, please come and join us.
Okay.
Any other councilor?
Okay, yeah, I just want to say that received an invitation from ClearGov, another software company, and I have a conference call. You're going to be there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Okay, that's going forward.
Councilor Cretzer?
I just had a constituent contact me this week who owns a property in the historic district, and they have some work that they'd like to do to some steps that lead up into their property. I believe the property has 2 or 3 sets of brick steps, one of which is deteriorating. They wanted to see if it was possible, and actually just to find out who they should talk to about the possibility of using kind of like a facsimile product, like a stamped concrete that's dyed the color of brick rather than brick. I don't know the process of who to send them to as far as historic review, if, you know, these alternatives that could preserve the aesthetics while allowing for maybe a more sustainable product with the elements. I don't know if that's possible, who they should even speak with.
A couple of comments. First of all, the first point of contact should always be our building inspector's office. But you know, we have a couple of historic districts in the city. I think once in a while it's time to reflect on how these districts are functioning and whether we'd like to modify them in any way. So we're having initial discussions on how we go about doing that. City Hall itself is part of that. As you know, we want to replace the windows. We have a couple of choices: to essentially rebuild the windows exactly how they would have been built 100 years ago, or to use a facsimile product that looks the same, that might have better insulation properties, etc., and might be more environmentally and sustainability-wise appropriate for this age. So we're trying to explore that as well.
Because this is someone that they think that it's a safety concern. They're afraid that it's a liability, that they're going to have, you know, tenants or people visiting that are going to become injured, and they want to move to fix it. I don't know what to tell them as far as a time frame or who they should talk to figure out what they can do or not do.
I recommend to speak with the building inspector first, but let's get that wider dialogue going.
Okay.
And your homeowner may be interested in helping inform the council in any future deliberations on historical districts, for that matter, too.
Okay. Thank you.
That's wise.
Councillor Dobbs?
I don't have a report, but I have an observation of the city fields and the parks and how nice they look. And I have the opportunity to be out to most of the fields chasing games around, and everything looks really nice with all that you've got to do. And I know your seasonal help is, I don't know if they're here on the board yet, or
We're ramping up.
your kids? Okay. That being said, I did have a Plattsburgh business person snag me as I was walking down Market Street and just commented that they do hope Upper Bridge Street, the pavilions, the bike stand is on the list of cleanup. There's quite a bit of leaves and debris.
Okay.
Just
Are you
to kind of bring
off-duty?
things back to the beach, I've had a number of people contact me about the beach. I know that we have this plan, you know, for safety, and that the state has, you know, has to approve as far as all the regulations. Are you comfortable with your staffing to do everything proactively? I think that every year they kind of comb the beach with nets and things to get debris out of the sand, and I know the water probably has to recede a bit, but is
Yes,
everything?
and for those parts of maintenance, beach staff is being supplemented by DPW. They had a crew down there today, did a big cleanup. There's a world of difference from what it looked like just last weekend,
So you're confident that everything is on track and we're good to go for opening day?
I'm confident, yes.
Awesome.
What, do you have an opening day set?
June 21st.
June 21st?
Actually went down to the
Solstice.
beach today, and there's about 24 people there, even though it wasn't open, and it looked pretty nice. Yeah.
And some of the longer-term councilors may remember Brian Bissonette. He's been appointed to get the beach open and going for us this year.
Okay.
And as you may recall from the reorganization last year, DPW is taking on more of the responsibilities of the actual maintenance, whereas Matt's office does more of the operations. So DPW has been playing a much bigger role in maintenance of the beach, the surrounding area, cleaning up of the Crate Center this year, and I think we're really seeing some progress, and I'm very appreciative of that.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Mr. Bissonette's contract, is that about a 3-week contract to get the beach up and running?
It was a temporary, he was hired full-time temporary with the understanding that he would undertake the preparations for the beach, and by the time he was looking to be done for the season, we would have an assistant beach manager ready and in place to take over his duties.
Okay.
And we're currently finalizing those plans with civil service as we speak.
An assistant beach manager, is that something new to us, or have we always had an assistant?
We had to reactivate both the positions of beach manager and assistant beach manager because in past years, administrative duties were handled by Jessica Gregg as recreation supervisor for the rec department.
And that's paid for out of?
That's paid out of the temporary pay line item under the beach budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other reports or new business?
Actually, if I could ask for an update, and sorry, Matthew, I feel like this is your day. Can you give us any progress on our contract with Finch Network and the CFA process?
Yeah, we've had several discussions with Amy Bond about potential opportunities. I've had discussions with the mayor and several other people about the best opportunities to pursue. I'm hoping to have at least 1 or 2 projects for her to start working on within the next few days.
Would you be able to, by next week, give us your recommendations of what projects you're thinking kind of dovetail, with what we can leverage from the DRI through the CFA, and then just kind of keep us in the loop?
Sure. I'd be confident I can give you at least 1 or 2
That's
by
awesome.
next week.
That's great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And within that pot of money, as you know, $10 million are primarily spread amongst one very large project, a number of smaller projects. One project that wasn't funded as much as many of us in the community would have liked is the Dock Street area. We have gone out for an RFP to find a consultant to help us engineer that area. That consultant will probably use up about half the funds. There's only about, I think, if I recall, $280,000 devoted to the Dock Street area. So that's going to be one of the candidates we'll be looking for with the CFA process. And I've also asked Department Head Ruff to devote a lot of energy in the next 18 months in the DRI period, to devote a lot of energy into improving the aesthetics of the wastewater treatment plants as well. He's got, as you know, I think he's talked about them before to you all, a number of ideas of projects that we can use. We really want to use his projects in the CFA process and the DRI to all dovetail in a really intense, coordinated effort over the next little while. So maybe Council or Department Head Ruff, could you bring the council up to speed next week as well on some of these projects? I know you two are meeting together as well.
And I was just going to request that also we get an update on the progress of either, whatever we're going to do regarding parking alternatives as Turkey Street is developed.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just had a question, Matt. I wanted to just go back to the assistant beach manager and Mr. Bissett. Are both of those on temporary service contract?
Yes, they're both the positions are temporary full-time, so they're seasonal.
Okay, through that budget item of temp service.
Through that budget item of temp pay, correct.
But there's actually 3 items.
I'm sorry?
There's 3 items, correct?
3 items.
There's beach
Full-time
assistant.
temporary for Mr. Bissonette, then a beach manager, then an assistant beach manager.
Yeah, Brian Bissonette is the beach manager, the assistant beach manager, and then the additional positions that are paid out of that line item are the lifeguards, the recreation assistants who man the ticket booth, and the laborers to assist DPW with the maintenance of the beach grounds.
Okay.
Any other questions, new business, council reports? Seeing none, could we have any of the public who would like to come and comment on any issues of mutual concern, please?
Hi, Susan Thu. I live at 150 Main Road in West Shore subdivision. I have been living in the city for 20 years, worked for the county and has since retired, moved from Lake Country Village out to West Shore subdivision and built a home and have been there since. I have also purchased a lot next to me, and the first that I realized there was any issue with sidewalks out there was when Kevin gave me a call and I had to go in and talk to him about the cuts and the new road and that is going to be done. And I know you're going to be opening those bids coming up, I think Friday of this week. And I just want to, I read the paper every day about how terrible financial status the city is in. And as a city resident, I really feel that there hasn't been any meetings that I'm aware of for the residents out there to express their input into this road replacement. And I know we definitely need a road replacement, and we need you know, the curbing done. It's in terrible shape. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, my driveway itself got blown up with a water leak, and the city had to cut across my driveway to replace the bottom part of the driveway. So now I have a big cut across my current driveway. But due to, you know, the work that's going to be done, and from what I have been told, that the city intends to replace the sidewalks on both sides of the road as part of this project. The opposite side of the road from me, the odd side of the street, has already been replaced, probably 90%, and pieced, you know, here and there, and it's pretty, as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty well done, except for the undeveloped land. On my side of the street, as far as I know, I never was asked to put in a sidewalk, and when I purchased out there, I worked for the health department when the subdivision plan was being approved, and there was nothing in the subdivision plan that talked about sidewalks and addressed it specifically. So I just would, due to the financial problems that the city is in, I just would hate to see sidewalks go in on our side of the street. I mean, I go to Florida for the winter, and that is why I purchased a home outside of, you know, Lake Country Village, so that I could have gardens and things that I wanted to have. And if, you know, if sidewalks are going to be put in, you know, even if it is a bond issue and at the city's expense, we are still going to have to maintain those sidewalks. And when I'm in Florida, that wants to be the last thing on my mind, having to worry about how my sidewalk is being shoveled. So I just wanted to address it. I mean, maybe there have been meetings that I'm not aware of, but I've talked to quite a few of my neighbors, and there is also included in that bond, there's trees that supposedly are going to be developed, and there's another issue about cutting across people's driveways and putting the sidewalk continuous. And I have a crack right now that's about that wide on my driveway. I don't know how they could possibly put a sidewalk in, and I'm hoping that when they do replace the storm drain, I think it's called, that's in my driveway right now. I originally didn't want the storm drain in my driveway. I had originally asked to put a U-shaped driveway in, and I was denied. But the storm drain is there, and we're dealing with it, and it's been kind of helpful, so the water runs down and goes out the storm drain. But I know that's going to be completely replaced as part of this project. So I hope that, you know, we don't have to, in addition to having, you know, the driveways torn up again, the extra cost. I used to live on Maryland Road, and there's plenty places in Lake Country Village where there's only sidewalks on one side of the street. All of Maryland Road only has sidewalks on one side of the street, and the mailboxes on Main Road are on the side of the street where the sidewalks are already. So, I mean, it makes it a walkable community already. We have a lot of people that walk and use the sidewalks on one side of the street. And it's not just me. Lee Custom Homes built a couple of homes on that side of the street that do not have sidewalks. And I just feel with the financial state of the city that that should be looked at very seriously before we spend a lot more money to redo the sidewalks at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any update that you can offer on this, where this process is? I know the RFPs are going to be open tomorrow morning. And have those RFPs been engineered and proposed based on sidewalks on both sides of the road?
Yes, sir. So the project was handed off to us prior.
I think that actually was probably designed probably 3 or 4 years ago, actually. Can anybody speak to the degree of public comment and participation. I know Department Head Rupp was there for a meeting in, I believe, February out at.
That was with the HOA.
Lake Country Village, that focused on cars or design around the water lines, but also status.
And the water line is on our side of the road, and I do understand that they're gonna dig that all up and replace the catch basins, but based on the elevations of the driveways, I think it's gonna be really difficult to come up, and the city replaced my driveway once, and I think it's gonna be very difficult to somehow come up, put a sidewalk in, but it's not just me. Originally, when I had spoken to Kevin, he had said that when it originally went out to bid, the sidewalks were separate, and that when the bids came back, they were very high. So how they're gonna come back this time, again, I think, I've read in the paper numerous times how we're in such dire straits that, and I've talked to my neighbors, you know, nobody really wants their driveways cut across to put a contiguous sidewalk because it looks good on both sides of the street. When
But isn't that part of city code, building inspector McMahon? To have, I mean, I know there are anomalies throughout the city, and especially in Lake Country Village, but isn't that the way the code is written? For, yeah.
But it hasn't been enforced.
I will concede.
My understanding is whenever they do construction on a new place, that they're adding in sidewalks.
Well, you can come out right now, there have been, I built in 2010, and you can count the amount of sidewalks, or driveways that do not have sidewalks. From my door, I can see 3 or 4 that do not have sidewalks across it. And I was never asked to install sidewalks when I built. I was asked with the lot next to me that I built a year ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One comment about the dire financial circumstances of the city. I don't know if I agree with that. I think the
Well, I'm just
council
saying, that's what the paper.
don't always believe everything you read in the paper. But I think the council is really doing incredibly good work in a difficult financial situation. I've always used the analogy, it's only dire when we don't have a plan, then we're not
Maybe I
rising to
used
the
the wrong word, but when you start cutting departments
Yep, it's
to
challenging.
reorganize and to refinance, and like I said, I've read in the paper numerous times that it's such an issue that, and when I originally talked to Kevin, it's like, it's a bond issue. I'm like, well, the bottom line is you pay your mortgage, doesn't matter if the bond is this much or that much, you
Yeah.
still gotta pay it.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Any other members of the public would like to come and please address the council on issues of mutual concern? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second by Councillor Dowdle. Roll call.
Councilor Armstrong?
Yes.
Councilor Dowdle?
Yes.
Councilor Enschel?
Yes.
Councilor McFarland?
Yes.
Councilor Kretzer?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
What are you doing tomorrow?
You never know.
Save me getting up, I had complaints from my, bills. PPA seat charge was only I know, Tara. I met you. Well, hope you're feeling good, and we're really happy to have you.
There's no existing civil service list for it.
Yes,
I understand, but I think it means we have the ability to hire whoever we can find with the skills necessary and get their required successful once the
Just need to sign it there.
Right, and so it expands the scope of what they can do beyond just simply parking enforcement, but dog and cat litter, windows, overflowing garbage, some kind of quality of life things that we'd like to see done more proactively in the city.